You all keep forgetting there was an officer in the back that was also shooting. You all are doing, y'all need to stop. You need to fucking stop. You all keep forgetting there was an officer in the back that was also shooting. You all are doing, y'all need to stop.
Our page getting took off Facebook. Look what they doing. They are scared to death of me. They took my page down in 5 minutes as soon as I went live. Get him off of there. Took him down. What are you talking about now? Listening to music, having a good time. All because I was Breonna Taylor. I was on Breonna Taylor's legal team. And I've been telling the truth. They are banning me from all social media platforms. And they currently got me locked in my house. If I come outside, I'm going to get killed. Or I'm going to have to go to jail where I'm going to eventually end up dying in jail from some weird shit. And they're going to make up a lie. But at the end of the day, they want me dead because they know I'm the one person that knows the truth when it comes to Breonna Taylor and how she was murdered. This is sickening, y'all.
You too, okay? Y'all got me fucked up. Don't warn me. Go warn them other niggas to be mindful not to say something about me if you're not sure if I'm talking about you, if you want to beef with me. I will warn the rest of you YouTubers, don't let these niggas get you caught up in no beef that don't belong to you. And if it belong to you and you feel guilty of the shoe that I put out there, then stand in that bitch and tie it up. That's what I'm going to tell you. Okay? Thank you for everybody who gave us.
First, let me say thanks. I appreciate the Generals, the Revolutionary Black Panther Party for having me out. I just want to say this, man. When it comes to this whole situation, to what's pretty much brought us all together, I hope we remember what we all came together for. We started off this movement because we wanted justice for Breonna Taylor. I think in the midst of everything that's going on with this situation, I think unfortunately a lot of us have amnesia and we forgot about the justice for Breonna Taylor. I see it every day on TV, whether it's locally or nationally, people saying that they want justice, not just for Breonna Taylor, but for George Floyd and so many others around the United States. But right here in Louisville, Kentucky, I need you folks to understand justice for Breonna Taylor is available. It's available to anybody who wants to tune in to the truth. A lot of people, y'all know me from the Facebook alter ego I've created. And that alter ego that I've created purposely to get attention. But in the midst of getting attention, what I try to do is hit y'all with some facts and some jewels when it comes to the Breonna Taylor situation. Unfortunately, because of the media here locally and so many others, politicians, doctors, lawyers, judges, all of the above are involved with covering up the fact that there was corruption involved with the Breonna Taylor case. And they don't want you guys to know the truth. I've sacrificed my own personal case. Before Breonna Taylor was ever killed, I had a multi-million-dollar federal lawsuit, which is still pending, against the very officer that's being charged with the wanton endangerment charges, Breonna Taylor. I took and went against legal counsel, and they offered, to put me in a position to where I would make $25,000 just not to protest on day one. I told them folks, I'm not interested in the $25,000. What I'm interested in doing is protesting and telling the truth about this officer, Breonna Taylor, and the rest of his crew. So I began to make my way down here to Jefferson Square early on in the early stages of the protest. And for the first 30 days of that protest, I poured out my heart, my soul. I lost money from my jobs, my business, and everything. I work at Ford Motor Company. I own a barbershop. I'm the owner of a club that I just purchased. I got a lot of things going on for me where I could have been focusing on business and making money, but I chose to come down here to speak to you guys directly. And when I was down here, I did nothing more than tell you guys the truth and try to introduce you to the guy, Breonna Taylor, who was involved with the Breonna Taylor situation. I felt it was important, just like the rest of the people in the courthouse and the lawyers who tried to keep me from coming down here. I felt like it was important because I single-handedly had what it takes to kill that guy's credibility. And anytime you're going up against anybody in the courtroom, if you can destroy their credibility, then you can win the case. So I knew right away I had to come down here and I had to destroy Breonna Taylor's credibility. But upon me coming down here, and being a vocal voice, being passionate, and doing what I do best, which is talking, because I love to talk. But doing what I do best, but also telling the truth. They began to send people down to try to distract you from what I was saying. I'm not saying anybody down here doesn't have a voice. I'm not saying anybody down here wasn't important. But I know for a fact when it came to Breonna Taylor and getting justice, there was nobody that was more important to me other than Kenneth Walker. And he elected not to speak, but I was ready to speak with no filter and tell the whole truth. So I began to come down here. I told my truth. And as y'all can see, they distracted me away from the protests by bringing me in as a member of Breonna Taylor's legal team. So Sam Aguilar began to bring me in. He hired me and put me on Breonna Taylor's legal team. So now, not only do I have a direct contact with the officer that's involved with Breonna Taylor's murder, but now I have access to all the proof and all the evidence. Upon having access to all the proof and the evidence, I began to work and solve this case. It took me all of 3 to 4 days to figure out exactly what happened and why it happened, and I was able to prove it and put together the evidence, my own file, video proof, and etc. Upon this situation, the settlement comes up. Now, we already know that this situation with Breonna Taylor was extremely unusual, and there was corruption involved because they did the settlement before they did the criminal case. Now, unfortunately, you had people like Until Freedom that was here locally, and they distracted y'all. And I say they distracted y'all because that's exactly what they did. Once they made the decision on the settlement, there was a direct attack on Daniel Cameron, which I understand why, but I didn't understand why they was attacking him at that moment. As soon as they came out of that building right across the street and they made the decision on the settlement, Tamika Mallory, she stood up and she began to go on what was one of the most epic speeches I ever heard when it comes to a political figure, and she completely destroyed Daniel Cameron. I agreed with the words, what she said, but I did not agree with the timing, because the situation was this simple, folks. She took the attention off what really happened. And what really happened, there was a settlement put in place. And along with that settlement being put in place, they agreed to destroy all the evidence. Now, me personally, I knew, y'all didn't know, but I knew Breonna Taylor had no shot at getting justice when it came to the criminal case. Because if you see the contract, which I have a copy of the contract, you'll know that they agreed to destroy all the evidence. So how are you going to prosecute a police or anybody, which was doctors, police, lawyer, and so many other people that took place in covering up this murder? How are you going to prosecute any of them if you just agreed to destroy all the evidence? So that created an anger and a rage in me, knowing I'm a person that worked on the case, knowing I'm a person that solved the case and put it together, and all my evidence is about to go to waste. To let you guys know that I put in real work, I have cash out transactions, I have checks, I have every form of payment you can possibly have from Sam Aguilar. The guy paid me $18,000, $18,500 to be exact, in a matter of 2 months for the work that I was putting in. I told Sam Aguilar, you know, I was happy, I was excited about the money, but I made sure I looked Sam Aguilar in his face, I looked him in his eyes, and I told him at the beginning, I said, Sam Aguilar, if this is about justice for Breonna, I'll be your biggest ally. But if this becomes a situation where I feel like you're involved in corruption, I'll be your biggest nightmare. I told him this to his face, he respected it, and we began to do work, and we began to solve this case. But unfortunately, just like the rest of you guys, doing the settlement day, and then moving on, you know, a couple days later, a week later, whatever it was, the criminal charges came out, and I seen that there was only a wanton endangerment charge. That's when I realized everyone, in my opinion, from Sam Aguilar to David James, Benjamin Crump, Tamika Mallory, and so many other people, I can keep going, I realized they was all involved in covering up the fact that this girl was murdered. Because the same evidence that I had access to, you best believe Sam Aguilar had access to, and Sam Aguilar was directly tied to Benjamin Crump, and Benjamin Crump was directly tied to Until Freedom. So I'm of the belief these people knew exactly what I knew, and I could never understand. I don't care who's against me. I don't care, you know, what threats I get. Whoever wants to say anything about anything, I would never participate in covering up anybody's murder. I don't care if they're black, I don't care if they're white, Asian, or Mexican. If you let me know about something involving a murder, especially a girl who was innocently, she was murdered, and I know exactly why she was murdered and how she was murdered, there's no way I'm covering it up. And so I need you folks to understand there's been so many pictures that's been painted of me. When you talk to sisters like the general here, when you talk to people like ourselves, who is, you know, connected to the ancestors, and there's a lot of people around here who are connected to the ancestors, and they are people who, you know, operate off energy, and they can read energy. If you ask any people that are in that realm or in that world, they'll tell you who I am and what I am. I am someone that is led by the spirit of the ancestors. I am someone that is going to do what's right no matter who I'm up against. And I need you guys to understand that when it comes to true leaders, every leader that's ever been a true leader in this world, you got to understand who they was before we looked at them as great leaders. Most of the leaders in this world, they were slandered.